They come in bright colours like reds, orange, fuchsia pinks, right through to these beautiful pale, streaked with lime green. They're big, they're blousy. You buy them compact in the shop and then they grow during in the vase. What are we talking about? We're talking about tulips today. And today we are going to be painting them. So I've got in front of me just some really simple watercolours. We're going to be doing a little bit of sketching. This is all about just having a play, really. Please don't go and buy lots of new materials. You can use poster paints, acrylic paints, watered down, gouache paints. You can use, even if your kids have got a little paint set in their craft or sort of useful box, then please just use those. You're also going to need some brushes and just you can either use an HB pencil, a sketching pencil, a pen, really just anything you've got to hand. Because today we're going to paint and draw some tulips. We're going to go through a few exercises, just 4 different exercises. We're going to do some continuous line drawing, negative space painting, then we're going to try a little bit of wet on wet watercolour, and then we're just going to finish with a final large tulip piece as well. We don't need any masterpieces today. It really is just having a go. No one has to see these if you don't want to. It just might introduce you to some new techniques that you haven't tried before. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop you down and we can get started. Okay, let's just move everything so you can see it properly. I'm also not feeling top form today, so you'll have to excuse me, any coughing or that sort of thing, but I'll try and keep that to a minimum. Okay, so these beautiful tulips on screen, but we're going to skip to the next one. And I just want to, let me just go through these quickly. Okay, we're going to start with this one, and we're going to do, as I said, a continuous line drawing, and we're also going to do negative spaces on this one. So we're going to start off with a continuous line drawing, and what I mean by that is that your pencil or pen doesn't leave the paper. So what I would like you to do is to draw these tulips, putting in all the detail, any shading you want, just without lifting your pen from your pencil from your paper. And we're just going to do this really quickly. It's just a warm-up exercise. So I'm just going to give you 3 minutes for this one. Pull that in a little bit tighter as well. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to start now. So as I say, just a warm up, just getting those shapes down. Okay, so that's 1.5 minutes to go. Oh, I took my pen off. No, it was about there. That's fine. I'm still going by the rules. That's because I was checking the time. So if you are watching today, please do let us know where you're watching from. Always lovely to hear from you on the Virtual Village Hall. And we've just got 10 seconds left, so I'm just going to put this one in at the back. How are you getting on? Are you nearly finished yours? As I said, no masterpieces needed. We're just warming up, having a go. And there we are. That is time. Excuse me. There we go. So just a really quick sketch, continuous line drawing, and it's often worth just writing on there. That's what I normally do. So I just put the date. So it's the 5th of Feb. That's a 3-minute continuous line drawing. And you never know, from that you might have a look, you might take a little bit of that. Perhaps you want to work up something in your sketchbook, but we're just going to put that to one side now. While we look at some negative, we're going to look at the negative spaces now. So by the negative spaces, I mean the background, the bit around, the bit where you can't see the tulips. And we're going to be painting that rather than painting the tulips themselves. So just grab my watercolours. And I'm just going to mix up sort of a dark background colour. You can go in with black if you want, but I think I might just go in with a kind of a nice sort of mossy green colour. I'm going to mix up quite a bit. Oops, sorry, the time has just gone. Okay. So we're getting to know this image quite well now. So as I say, we're going to just paint the negative spaces. And how long should we give us? We'll do another, I think another 3 minutes with this one. Okay, so when you're ready, go. So 3 minutes started. So we're just looking at that negative space. You can take your paintbrush off for this one. Mix up a bit more paint. So I'm just looking at section between here and here. And that's just a minute left. 20 seconds left. I'll neaten up this bit here. 2 seconds, and that is time. Turn timer off. So just a nice kind of way to really look at those shapes, the negative spaces, and just see what you come up with. Okay, so next we're going to do what's called wet on wet. You've probably heard of it before. It's just a term where you paint water onto the paper, and then you use wet paint to make the colour, and you just let it kind of run and do its own thing. I'm not a watercolour artist. Excuse me. I'm not a watercolour artist. So yeah, please bear with me. But it's a really nice, interesting technique to have a go at. Okay, right, I'm just going to set the timer. So we're going to give ourselves a little bit more time with this one. So I'm going to put 4 minutes on the clock. Bear with me, I'll just set that for you. Set to 4. There we go. Okay, and we're just going to mix up our paint as well, save on time. So you can go absolutely very sort of realistic and go with these purple colours, or if you want, you can just mix up any colours at all, sort of your reds, your oranges, or if you want to go more pale, and just kind of imagine. So we're not really copying the tulip in front of us, we're just really using it as a guide to get some of those lovely petal shapes in. So I'm going to probably stick with, I think I'll go with oranges. So as I say, go whichever colour you want. So I'm just going to mix up sort of 3 different orange based colours. So you might want kind of a dark, medium, light. And while I'm doing this, we're just going to put something in the comments for you, just so you can have a look at a little link. The Charity Mind have organised today a Time to Talk Day, where we're really just sort of talking about mental health. And we're going to put a link in the comments for you, so you can have a little bit further. But it's just so important to talk about mental health, and I think doing a little bit of art can really help as well with that sort of mindfulness. And really, if you do it with people as well, that's always really nice, because it's sort of, you're not face to face looking at each other, you're just painting away, just doing something, and then, you know, all these kind of questions, these thoughts come up that we might need to just have a chat with people about. So we're going to just put that in the comments for you now. So I've got my kind of orangey red, I'll make that a little bit more pinky red, that one. Orangey red colours. Together. So I've just got a clean water as well. I didn't actually talk about paper today, did I? I do apologise. So paper wise, for the painting, you do need something a little bit thicker. So you could use watercolour paint, a really good cartridge sort of paper from watercolour paper, cartridge paper, say from a good sketchbook, or this, I'm just using wallpaper. It's lining paper, a wallpaper, or even if you've just got rolls of wallpaper, you know, that you haven't used, that you've got left over, then you can use that as well. It's fine to have one side with the wallpaper pattern, and then this, they work really well. They take water really well. Okay, so we're not actually going to sketch, we're just going to use we're almost going to paint with water if you see what I mean. So I would suggest putting some of these lovely big petals in, but as you do, just leave a slight gap between each petal, because we don't really want the paint to run into all of the petals. We want each petal to be a separate kind of thing. So as I said, we're going to give us 4 minutes, so I'll start that time now. So you might not actually be able to see what I'm putting on here, but I'm just looking at those petals and I'm just painting them on. If you wanted to, you could just put a tiny bit of that colour in if you're struggling to see those petals. So it doesn't have to be accurate to the picture, we're just using that as a reference really to give us an idea of these gorgeous shapes. And I'm leaving a line between each petal, so it's going to almost look like a stencil. If you want to, you can completely fill each petal with water, or just leave a couple of little bits of sort of paper that hasn't been painted within the petal. And then I've just got that last one to go in. So you can see that water's, oh, I don't think you can see it, but the water is quite, it's quite a bit of water on that paper, because we're going to want these lovely things to happen. I'm just going to put a line as well for the stalk. Sorry if I'm not making much sense today. Okay, then I'm just going to add my colours. So I'll bring that over a little bit so you can see it more. Cool, we just had 2 minutes already. Excuse me. Okay, so if we just have a look at the image itself, we've got this very dark one at the back, so I'm going to go in with my kind of my darkest, a bit more orange, and all I'm going to do is just put the paint in that, just help it around a little bit. Add another one of the colours if you like. Then with the lighter colours, I've got this lighter bit around the edge. And just really let those colours play around. Move the paper if you want. I'll just quickly mix up a little bit more yellow. And I'm just putting those colours around and about where they show on the painting, but then we allow the water just kind of take it and really to do its thing. Oh, so that's just 10 seconds left, so I'm going to just quickly, I was getting a bit carried away there. It's really enjoyable to do. That is actually time, but we'll just quickly finish this off. Oh, stop timer. There, I was having way too much fun. So I'm just going to turn my paper Just allow some of those colours to mingle. If some of the petals go into itself, that's absolutely fine. And then I've just got a little bit of that green just to finish that off. There you go. So quite stylized, sort of very kind of stencil-like, almost like a stained glass window as well, that sort of effect. But that's just kind of your wet on wet techniques. So I would put that somewhere safe, out of the way, so it can dry flat. And as it dries, some of those colours will sort of merge even further. And often it dries with a darker line around the outside, which is really lovely. Okay, so for our final piece, we're on to our final one already. Let's go to the next slide. So this one, we're going to try, it's going to be a little bit of experimental. Again, the picture is just for reference. It doesn't have to be exact. But what we're going to do is we're going to mix some paint up, and then we're going to just randomly drop blobs all over. And then we're going to use our brushes again. We're going to use the brushes filled with water to then make those shapes, and just allow again the watercolors just to do their own thing. So first of all, mix up the paint, please. I've got loads of red already mixed up, so I'm just going to stick with that. I might just my reds and my oranges. You could just do one colour if you wanted, or you can do different colours, different coloured tulips. I'm just going to mix up a slightly darker one as well. I'm just going to add a little bit of brown to that sort of pinky red. There we go. Okay. And I think we'll give ourselves 4 minutes for this one as well. Oh, you might just want to mix up a green just very quickly. Let's mix up a green so we don't waste any time. And to just freshen that one up a little bit. There we are. So I've got my two different greens as well. Excuse me a second, I just need to cough. Okay, so let's start the time. So that's 4 minutes on the clock. So we're just going to really load up our paint and then just drop it. Just randomly. Just nice big drops. Oh, that wasn't so big. Let's put a bit more water in. Just do a couple more because we're a minute in already. Just one more here, that's it, and then that's done. Okay, what I meant to do was keep one of my waters clear, but that's fine. Okay. Now load up your brush with water, and then we're just going to take one of these, and I'm going to start where there isn't any water, just at the top, and then just guide it, making those kind of that tulip shape. Very gently like that. So you can also do this with your one of your darker shades. So just that classic tulip shape. Don't feel that you have to sort of paint the whole bit. You can leave some little tiny little lines. They could just be like the highlights from the sun. Just pop a little bit more colour on that one. Okay, so we've got just under a minute left. I'm just going to quickly finish these off, and then I'm going to add so the smaller ones I'm just going to leave, and then I'm just going to add, so each one obviously needs a stem and a leaf. So just going to hold my pencil, my paintbrush by the end, keep it quite upright, and then just draw down. Okay. Right, we are actually at time, but I think we can carry on going. Don't worry too much if it marks like that. It's actually quite nice if some of them it reaches up and you're left with some of this green on the petals themselves. Okay, what else to do? Just neaten that one up a little bit. So now let's just add some of our leaves as well. So I love we haven't actually spoken much about the leaves today, but I absolutely love the leaves, the way they twist and fold. So again, I just want you to take the your paintbrush by the top, and I'll just quickly show you on this piece here. So we're just going to, as we do it, we're going to press down and then twist. So we kind of have these lovely kind of sort of tulip leaf shapes. Okay, and we really have gone over time now, but that's fine if you're enjoying it. I know I am. So press down and then just and then twist, and then that will give you that. Could be a little bit more. Ooh. And there we go. I don't think I'll put any more up there. I quite like that this is very sparse, so I'm going to leave mine there. So there we go. This is kind of a, I kind of call this one kind of a drop and see. So you just drop the paint on, see where it lands, and then you make those tulip heads and then these lovely leaves. So let's just take a look at what we've done today. So just a lovely little half-hour session. And just done 4 different types. I'm going to just keep that really flat. So we'd started with our continuous line drawing, just looking at these gorgeous shapes of the tulips themselves. We used the same image to then create some negative space drawing. So we're just looking really at those silhouettes, those big bold silhouettes. We did a stylized wet on wet, mine's still very wet, tulip painting, kind of looks sort of stencily, sort of stained glass like. And then we just finished with a field of tulips, which if you want to let that dry and then put the blue in, then absolutely be my guest. So I hope that's been nice for you to do on a dreary February morning. Please, if you do have a go at any of the exercises today, we always love to see your work here on the Virtual Village Hall. So please take a quick snap and then pop it in the comments. And I look forward to seeing you next time. So take care, and please do join me later on in the month. I'll see you soon. Bye.